Oh, that one is for the defense. The Flames lose a key player early. They take some crappy penalties early, but they muscle out a single point in a 4-3 overtime loss in Dallas. So that's points in 2 straight on the 6-game road trip. And we're going to break it all down for you. It's Cami and Pike on Afterburner, brought to you by Bet365. Check out Bet365, 3-goal early payout. If your team goes up by 3, you get paid. It is just that easy. Download the app today. You got to be 19 plus. Please play responsibly. And while you're at it, hanging out with us tonight, hit up the super chat to help out you centers of Calgary and have your thoughts, questions, and concerns heard. So, the implication: the Flames are not mathematically eliminated yet. That could even change by the end of the stream. So with a point gained, any Nashville win tonight would be the final dagger. Jack is keeping an eye on that for us. The Colorado Avalanche have also clinched the Central Division and Western Conference titles, and we have confirmed a Dallas Stars Minnesota Wild matchup in the first round with Colorado's 3-1 win over St. Louis. Where are you at, Pike?
What a weird game. I'll say this. Dallas has players in their team that are like, if we're going to call a spade, you could remove 3 or 4 players from Dallas before the talent levels of those teams become equal. And this is a Dallas Stars team already missing some key bodies.
Oh, they are banged up. No Bastion, no Faxa.
No Rupe Hintz.
Yep, no Hintz. Also missing Steele, Bunting, Sagan. Sagan's going back a while, but
so it's
the Dallas Stars at their best.
It's a playoff bound Dallas team that realistically is, they know they can't move up in the standings, and they're basically just trying to hold on for home ice against Minnesota and what's going to be probably a hell of a series. That feels like a 7-game series already. So Dallas's minds are focused on April 18th. The Flames are focused on the management side on May 5th in the draft lottery. Everyone else are going game by game. And I'll give the Flames credit against a team that they should probably be losing to soundly in regulation. The last time they faced off, it was a 6-1 Dallas win in Calgary, and Dallas did not have to work very hard. This is a much better effort for the Flames, and I think this is the kind of game where, points aside, if you look at this kind of game in the macro, you go, yeah, it was a pretty good game. They played well. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. They were playing shorthanded. They had multiple defensemen play well more than they usually do. And they managed to get a point off a very good Dallas team in a really tough building. So, I mean, I'm trying to figure out the negatives here, because, you saw, some young guys get extra reps because of, you're missing Kevin Bahl. I think this might have been one of the games where Zane Parek's skills were probably, at his confidence in particular, were at most display. He scored a nice goal. The power play looked good until a 4-minute penalty kill in overtime. The penalty kill was pretty good. Kuznetsov was good in the penalty kill. Parek was good in the power play. Everyone else, the kids, were all pretty good in every other game situation. Two for you poolies, you sickos that had Adam Klapka in your pools. I hope you were betting on him getting 2 primary points as even strength, because he did on 2 very nice plays. So, I mean, if they were going to lose, and I think a lot of folks looking at the big picture are going, please lose. I think this was probably the best version of that kind of game.
And huge for them, even though this wasn't Dallas at full strength. You look at the overarching season series, they got thumped by Dallas once. They beat them in a shootout once, and they get a point tonight. And like you mentioned, Kevin Bahl, he was out of there pretty early. It actually looked tough. He tries to hit Harley, I think it was, along the backboards, and just goes into it awkwardly. He comes off putting almost no weight on his left leg. It looks like he's grabbing his knee. They confirm at the start of the second period that he is not coming back, and immediately it's like, Ole Mata is going to be triple shifted tonight.
And it also means that barring anything else happening, like the Flames have 8 defensemen on their active roster, one of which is Joel Hanley, who's out for the rest of the season. Their only healthy extra defenseman is Braden Bahl, which, all due respect, swapping out Kevin Bahl for Braden Bahl and then going into 2 final road games. I don't. Yeah, it's going to be a downgrade. All due respect
It
to.
looked like a recipe for disaster, and the Flames really hung in there. That is a metaphorical win. There were good things to take away from it because it looked like it could honestly be a repeat of the Colorado game from just over a week ago after you take 2 early penalties and you just watch the way that the Stars move the puck, and it's like, oh my God, they're cooked. But they really hung in there, and a lot of credit has to go to Devin Cooley for that. We didn't see a goal until the second period, and it wasn't a go. Absolutely gross. 1-0 Dallas. It was a long shot off the boards. Rich Kobian swats it. Looked like
Just, Rick Ovian just had, actually, he's kind of cool. They just signed his brother, which I think is very fun. But yeah, he
Makar style.
he made a smart play. Like, you don't know how fast you have to make the play. So he just, as soon as he gets it, he's chipping it on net going, hope it takes a nice bounce. And it took a nice bounce. So, it might not be the most skilled play in the world, but it's the play they needed because they did some, really funky plays in the first period that missed the net, that got blocked, that hit the crossbar. Like they had a lot of good chances in a first period that had 6 combined shots between the two teams. Dallas credited with 2 shots on goal because everything else missed the net or hit the post or went wide or hit a guy. This was all right, we tried to do pretty stuff. Let's just put it on net and see if it takes a bounce. And it managed to get them the lead.
There you go. And it wouldn't take too long for Calgary to level it back up. We talked about Olli Mata. He makes a great steal in the neutral zone to give the guys a shot. Klapka.
Zane Parekh. So before this play, the play went the other way. It was an odd man rush for Dallas. And we've often seen young defensemen, not picking on Parekh in particular, but young defensemen make a decision almost too quickly and overcommit to playing one guy and sort of pulling themselves out of position to sort of, steer guys away from dangerous areas. And Parekh made a very, very confident play of I'm just going to hang out in the no man's land and start gradually steering myself towards the guy I want to steer away from the puck. And he didn't do it too quickly. He did just quickly enough that he forced the guy to go wide instead of being able to hold on to the puck and make a play. Took away the pass, steered the guy wide. The guy had to make a bad pass into the slot. Olli Mata collected it, made the headman pass, and led to that goal. So Zane Parekh, I know, he's still a skinny boy. He needs to spend some time both at the gym and at the buffet, maybe in the same afternoon. I don't know. He can decide what his schedule looks like. But you can tell the brain is working. He's starting to figure out what he needs to do away from the puck to have the puck more often. And I thought maybe it was just the fact that they played the brakes off him today. He played so much that he just kept getting put out there. He didn't make many mistakes. I think we're going to come up on one where maybe he overcommitted offensively and it led to a play going the other direction. But before we point out that play, I wanted to go out of my way to point out he made a really smart play that led to this goal. And then we can get to the other stuff. But Parekh had quite a good game, I thought.
I'm sorry, Justin. So you said he's got to hit the buffet. So a question that I've started asking all draft eligible kids is pregame meal. What's your go-to? Alarming amount of meatball subs. Alarming. Imagine trying to play a hockey game with a stomach full of meatball sub. But will not name names. One player who is going to go fairly high this year said meatball sub with Doritos crushed up in it.
I don't know if that's brilliant or terrible. That'd be a great post-game meal. But pre-game, that'd sit like a brick in your tummy, wouldn't it?
Right? It'd turn into cement. But it seems to be working. Yeah, it's got some calories in it. Next time you're down there, maybe recommend it to Zane.
We'll see. I'm pretty sure Rick Davis will get him on a good plan. He's probably already on a good plan.
Probably. I mean, even when Connor Bedard was in junior, it was chicken and rice and veggies. There was no deviating him from that system. But anyway, back to the game itself. Calgary got a kind of ugly one of their own back. Everyone's favorite, Yegor Sharangovich.
The Flames needed, because this was the type of game where it definitely seemed early on that pretty goals were not going to go in, and you just had to put on your hard hat and be like, all right, we're going to put this off somebody's shin pads or their ass or something and get it into the net. And,
we did get at least one pretty one, and it came on the power play. Huge. 26 seconds into the third period, Frost carries it in, splits the D, and just sets up a really nice cycle for the Flames. And Coronado had a
by Prek. And yeah, I'll say this: good old man Blake Coleman in his home state didn't get any points in this game, but just he seemed perfectly content to hang around the blue paint and just bother guys. And you see, there's two guys in green sweaters with Coleman going, okay, he's not going to pass it to you, but then they don't have anyone to guard the guy they actually passed it to. So, good work, Blake Coleman. But
this morning, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but he talked about getting younger guys to lean into the things they're good at. And it's just kind of like the sage advice of not trying to be something that you're not. But I think we saw some guys really lean into that today and got some good things to show for it, even if they didn't get the win.
Hell yeah. And we'll point out secondary assist to Matvei Gridin. I think he's got like 11 or 12 points since the All-Star break, since he got called up. He's been brilliant. He's waiver exempt, but he's not going to see the AHL ever again. I think he's spent his time wearing the dub. He'll be wearing a C for the foreseeable future. And he's still got 2 years left in his entry-level contract, and he's already on the full season, half a point per game. On this last stretch, 0.6 points per game, maybe 0.65. So, don't want to call it a lost season, Cami, because they found 3 to 5 young guys who could be regulars. And I think arguably the most impactful this season has been Matvei Gridin.
No such thing as a lost season, just a season of learning.
He learned how to score pretty goals in the NHL.
Hell yeah. So it was 3-1.
Game over. Throw it into cruise control. Screw you, Team Tank. Flames win 3-1. We're all out of here. Thanks for. Oh, there's more of the game, isn't there? I don't love as they're announcing your 3-1 goal, you get scored on. But as I mentioned off the hop, Dallas has gears that other teams don't. And the next 10 minutes of this period felt like Dallas going, crap, we're losing to Calgary? 3-1? No. We're not doing that. Not tonight. And then they kind of took the game over in the second half of this period.
Oh, yeah. And then Robertson gets the third goal in 5 minutes just to tie.
To sort of help out his buddy to try to block the pass. Turns out neither of them blocked the pass. And then it's just a case of Robertson is, further up, way further up ice than Prek is. I would argue that if you're Gridin and you're sort of back there, back checking, they usually do a rotation. They turn the puck over, and then that stretch pass sort of stretched out the defensive coverage. If you're Gridin, bless your heart, we love you helping out your fellow Russian. Maybe stay where you were before. And because the way the play unfolded was, Duchesne ends up having a step on 2 guys instead of just 1, and then Robertson has a gimme. So, I don't know what poor Devin Cooley is supposed to do in that play, much like the wraparound rebound play that preceded it. But there's the details of some of the Flames' defensive zone play on the last 2 goals are learning experiences. There's things they're going to have things to look at on the plane to Denver tonight.
Yeah, make those video coaches earn their paycheck. Good a time as any to bring up this super chat from Payne. Ristevich was everywhere all the time. Gritty is the new Monty.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's it.
I don't know. Like I would argue that Matvei Gridin has the deadpan humor down as quickly as Monahan did. And I think ironically enough, they're about the same age. They're both. Monahan was a late birthday, so he was 19 when he came into the NHL. And this was Gridden's 19-year-old year. So they're pretty close in terms of age. I would say Monahan was a more physically developed and preternatural goal scorer early on. But when you're talking about, a guy who was drafted 28th overall and a guy who's drafted 6th overall being anywhere close in terms of talent and output, I think you got to take the compliment.
Yeah, might as well. There's a couple of comments I want to get to here, but we'll wrap up the scoring recap really quick here. One other thing I did want to ask you, just because that tying goal marked Robertson's third 40-plus goal season. Pike, who will be the next Calgary Flame to score 40 goals in 1 year?
Hold on. Where's my list? I'm gonna say Matt Vigredden, probably Matt Vigredden. My dark horse, though, and I'm gonna look either very smart or very stupid for saying this. Maybe Ethan Wittenbach.
Look into the future.
NCAA. I'm contractually obligated to say Johnny Lazarus gives me a nickel every time I say the phrase NCAA leading scorer Ethan Wittenbach. So I have to use that phrasing, and now I just earned a nickel, and I have enough of those. He'll buy me a cup of coffee.
There you go. Dome coffee. Those are actually like cheapest latte in the city down at the Saddle Dome. For how much people don't like paying for a beer there, it's a pretty cheap coffee. That's actually decent. Have you had the coffee there?
Downstairs?
Yeah.
Oh, since they got the machine, I hardly ever go across the hall.
Oh no. Well, you can't get milk at the machine.
Yeah, that's why I just go double espresso.
There, it counts as cereal, so it's a meal.
Yeah, no, I just do espresso there.
Fancy.
Tall espresso. By the third one, I can't blink anymore. It's perfect.
Love that. Sends us to overtime. Oh, right before it got to OT, Strome got taken down by Myers really hard along the boards. He was obviously bleeding. He goes off with Kent Kabelka down the tunnel, comes back with the plug in his nose. No call. They had to go explain that one to Ryan Huska. And then in overtime, Strome gets called for a high stick 48 seconds in. And that one was, that was pretty obvious. I wasn't sure. I didn't really see it that well when it happened in real time. And then Robertson rolled over and he's just leaking everywhere.
Yeah, and they have that beautiful shot on the broadcast. It was just like the things right up his nose.
Oh,
and
she's the man. Just absorbs right up.
Yeah, and then they got a 4-minute power play out of it in overtime with 4:12 left in overtime.
Devin Cooley earned his paycheck. It was so good. He had so many great stops, and you could see the Stars really trying to fake him out and get him to bite, and he just was not doing it. And eventually, if it was just a simple power play and not a double minor, they would have survived it. But in the end, Johnston, he kind of fakes like he's going to go cross crease and instead fires it in himself. The ingredients are there, right?
And hey, it's they get a point. They don't pass anyone in the standings. The optimal draft lottery situation would have been for them to get 0, but I think they got the brakes beaten off them in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
After, I'll say, just imagine, Cami, the whiplash of going from playing the Vancouver/Abbotsford Canucks, playing kind of a sloppy game and still winning handily, going into Denver, losing by a touchdown, going to Vegas, playing much better and still finding a way to lose. And then these last 2 games, the
third period is just where things really came off the tracks in Vegas.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought they played perfectly good hockey in Vegas in a building where they've never won. They've won twice in 15 games. They went to the Honda Center, a building where up until recently they have been utterly cursed, both by Wild Wing himself and by the team on the ice. Then they go into wherever the hell they call the Reunion Arena / American Airlines Center, the beautiful brick building the Dallas Stars play out of right now. That's a subject of ongoing litigation between them and the NBA team.
It's fascinating.
It's so anyone, if you have an afternoon, spend the $2 for a Dallas morning news subscription. They've been doing an amazing job reporting this, and it's such a weird story. We don't have time to get into it, but basically they're fighting over, because you moved your head office to a different city in Texas, the agreement you signed with us no longer is valid, except depends on what you decide counts as headquarters or agreement. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I think this was on paper a really tough road trip. They lived down to their reputation against Colorado in the first game. We all kind of thought, oh, that could get ugly, and it got ugly. But since then, I mean, I think they played 3 pretty good, if fairly occasionally flawed games of hockey. And, in the grand scheme of things, if you're saying to me, these 3 buildings, 1-1-1, 3 points out of a possible 6, they're not doing anything to really hurt their draft lottery standings quite yet. It's going to get dicey if they keep playing well. I don't know. I think in the grand scheme of things, I think they'll have enough positives heading into the break that guys can have good off seasons of training and don't feel like they're terrible hockey players. But they've also done enough bad things that they're probably in line to get someone pretty good at the end of June at the draft. So, it's a balancing act, right?
I mean, like, nothing happened tonight that would be confidence shattering. While, like you said, not jeopardizing where they're picking, they could still be mathematically eliminated if Nashville beats the Ducks in any fashion. They're up 2-0, just over halfway through the second period now. I saw Jack jumped in the stream for a hot second there. He was so ready. He was so ready to give us the recap.
I was super ready. Oh, man.
Tell us about it, Jack.
No, it's 2-0.
Jack, we need to make a rule that from now on.
I was going to jump in when it was 1-0, but I was waiting for you guys to finish, and then they just scored again.
We need a graphic, and we need some sort of a horn. Anytime something happens in the game that helps the Flames draft lottery positioning, someone has to jump. One of the producers has to jump in and just sort of have like a flashing light be like, Nashville's winning 2-0.
I listen to a podcast where they have a soundboard, but it's all like corporate lingo. So all of a sudden someone will like bust in with like, let's circle back on that. That's what we need for Jack.
That's amazing. Yes. I need one of those soundboards that Boomer has. Totally.
We'll get on it. We'll get on it.
Jack, when's your birthday? Someone should get you a soundboard for your birthday.
November.
And a bunch of books.
Next year.
We'll get you a bunch of
books.
You know what? I have a list of books that Chris Snow recommended I read. I'll start giving you some of those because some of them are fascinating.
Oh, hit us with one of his recs. What was one of his recommendations?
Outliers is one. Talking to Strangers was one. Grit was one. Matt Brown's recommended a few things that I'm working through now too. Yeah, the best thing you can ask someone who's working in hockey is, "What are you reading right now?" Because the odds are it's going to be something kind of weird and interesting.
Yeah.
Just like Jack's reading list, weird and interesting.
Uncle John's Reader, Volume 2. Sorry, Jack, that was uncalled for. A couple things in the chat. Uncle Iro will not reveal the identity of the Doritos player. Will say that Joe Aginla said on camera that sometimes he'll mix like a fizzy water into his protein shake, which sounds a little bit haunted to me, but we'd probably give that a shot just to see.
Let's not forget that perhaps the most talented player in Calgary Flames history was nicknamed Johnny Ham and Cheese because he would only eat ham and cheese sandwiches.
I'm like loving the people's sandwich comments here. A lot of bologna, a lot of mustard. I think my saddest ever was like a mustard and bread sandwich, but it was actually not bad. That's a Popper's meal right there.
If you have a good enough mustard, like, if you want to get fancy, you just, you get a fancier mustard or you get fancy bread or something. Sourdough sandwich or sourdough bread with some fancy mustard. That's a good deal.
Okay, well, I was bread on sale and generic, but it was still pretty good. Best we can with the tools we have, Pike.
Precisely.
There you are. Yeah, that's how the game went down tonight. I want to give a shout out to our buddy Derek Newman with the Derek Newman Group. If you're buying or selling a house, condo, townhome, or duplex in Calgary, or just the surrounding area, you can give Derek a call, DERRICK. You can visit him at dereknewmangroup.com or call 403-619-6661. Not on Team Tank, but he gets it. He understands the vibe. Also very good at his job. Over 100 million in real estate sold. So if you're looking for an expert, you got to go to Derek.
Now, is that like a series? Is that like $101 million sales, or is that $100 million sale? Because either one's equally impressive. I almost kind of wish it was $100 million sale. Like he's just bragging about one amazing commission he got.
I can't even think of what would be worth that.
I don't know.
But at the rate, like the way the market seemed for a while there, it's like
Derek Newman sold Scotia Place for $100 million, and that's what he got.
Yeah, we got Cat in the Hat here says, I would like to see more of the Wranglers players, see what they got, and if they win that lineup, so be it. Is it 35 players who have appeared with the Wranglers?
37 if you include goalies. Actually, 38 if you include goalies.
goalies.
I'm giving Owen Say credit. Owen Say is technically an NHL player because he was on the game sheet because that one game in November where Devin Cooley was physically not able to pull his ass to the bench because he was elsewhere, otherwise occupied, because he had the flu. Owen Say, okay, this is the dumbest bit of trivia of the year. There's two players who played back-to-back nights on two different teams in the organization this year. Brendan Othman played for the Wranglers and then got called up and played the next day for the Flames on Hockey Night in Canada, which is kind of fun. Owen Say backed up Arseny Sergeyev on one night and then got called up as an emergency backup the next night to back up for Wolf because Cooley had the flu. So he worked the gate for two different leagues, and he was basically sitting in the exact same stool, but he just switched hats. Like same gear, same pants, same everything. They gave him a different jersey and a different hat, and he opened the gate, and neither game did they take a too many men penalty. So Owen Say, at the very least, is very good at opening the gate. But
well, nothing but love and light to Owen Say, but I was hoping to use that as a segue to talk about Mr. Suniev. 11-16 time on ice, his first NHL game since April 17th of 2025. Gets a block in there, gets a takeaway. 15 shifts. What'd you make of this game tonight?
He was noticeable for good reasons. Didn't really overcommit to anything. I wish he had more chance to get shots off, but I mean, you're playing a road game in Dallas against a Dallas team that theoretically can still clinch second spot in home ice. So, you know, you're playing in a tough building on a third line. You don't have the benefit of having Backlund and Coleman just sort of give you the high ground. So, you know, he was playing with Strome, who was, you know, was decent enough tonight. And I believe Pospisil was on the other wing, who was, I don't know, he was fine. Of the three guys on the ice, I noticed Suniev the most on that trio. So, but I think he'll get some other looks down the stretch too. I think I'm really curious those last three home games, how much we see of some of the younger guys, because I figure we'll probably see Tyson Gross again. I figure we'll see Suniev again. They have one more call up to use. I figure they use that, and you know, whoever they bring up ends up getting that spot. I don't know if the injury to Kevin Bahl means that maybe they bring up an extra defenseman, or you know, play fast and loose with the emergency recall rules just to make sure they have an extra defenseman around. But I figure if they do anything silly, it'll be once they get home and the rules can be stretched a little bit more. But I like Suniev today. He's, you know, I think he told Danny Austin at Post Media, he being Brett Sutter, the head coach of the Wranglers, you know, he talked to Danny Austin, and Danny tweeted out that, you know, he referred to Suniev as the Wranglers' most improved player. I would agree with that. He was, you know, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but Suniev was a good offensive player, but a bit of a defensive adventure early in the AHL season. And he's gotten more and more comfortable playing away from the puck. His positioning's been a lot better, and he's been able to do a lot more things on the ice because he's able to get the puck more. So I thought he's well deserving of the call up, and one of the better Wranglers last 2 months of the season. And you know, he didn't look a bit out of place tonight for negative reasons. He showed up. He was more showy than on his heels, and I think that plays to his strength a bit.
I love how at any level, literally from Pee-wee to the NHL, if you ask a coach about their most improved player, it starts with just absolutely sewering them, and then you get to the good stuff. It just never stops. You ever go to, like, if you're ever at a minor hockey banquet and they're handing out the awards and the coaches are talking about their most improved, like, these poor kids who are listening to this. But
man, back in September, Johnny sure was terrible at everything, and now he's just bad at some things. Most
not
improved.
far off, Ryan.
I'll say this: Wes Gilbertson, formerly of Post Media, now of other things. He during Suniev's freshman year at UMass, he did an interview with Greg Carville, the head coach at UMass, and you know, he basically said like, "Hey, how's he doing?" And the gist of the conversation was, you know, Suniev's really good offensively. He's always knows what to do with the puck, but his checking details weren't there because he's never had to do it before. And so for someone who's only really had to play defense of any kind for less than 3 years, his details are very good. And even compared to October, his details have gotten a lot better. I think we saw something similar with, a similarly offensive-minded player in Matthew Gridden, where, Gridden early in the year, he was fine. You could work around what he couldn't do defensively by putting him with good defensive players. And now, I mean, let's be mean here. I don't think you put someone with Morgan Frost that needs to be coddled defensively, because Morgan Frost is not a two-way player. He's a very good offensive player, but he's not your two-way guy. You're not putting him on the penalty kill. So the fact that they trust Gridden defensively enough to put in with guys that, are kind of north-south players, I think that speaks to the work he's done in the Wranglers, and I think similar things have happened with Suniev. So I think
that's what so much of development is for these guys, right? I mean, when they're younger, 100% of these players are the best players from the small town they're from. They're the best on their minor hockey teams. It's about defining what success looks like for you and figuring out how your skills can translate to the pro level, or what you need to change to find a place for yourself in the pro level. I was talking to a coach a couple weeks ago, and he said he was talking to a parent, and he was referencing the conference finals last year, and Sam Steele, a Dallas Star, not in the lineup tonight, he's injured right now, said he's out there taking a defensive zone face-off on the penalty kill in the conference final. Would you define that as successful career? Like, would you be happy if your kid ended up there? And they're like, yes, absolutely. It's like, hey, well, they might be flashy superstar at bantam level, but you might have to find a way to work your game in a different way and just redefine what success might be. So could be that for Suniev. I agree with what you said. He wasn't standing out for any bad reasons. I thought he did a really good job of maintaining possession. We saw him really hanging on to it under some tight checking. So it was a good showing for him in his first NHL game in almost a year.
Yeah. And I'll when I talked to Bradford Living at some length for my book that came out a couple years ago, and we were talking a lot about Michael Backlund and how, like, Michael Backlund, it took him a while to really click as a pro, because Michael Backlund couldn't just do the same things he was doing in Swedish Junior in the dub and be effective as the NHL. He needed to sort of have a different way of being successful. And, I think I think the phrase Treliving used was basically, I'm like, when do you think Backlund really became what he is now? And his phrasing was something along the lines of, once he started to value keeping the puck out of the net as much as putting the puck in the net. Like, and when I asked Backlund the same question, like, when do you think you turned the corner and sort of like went the stretch of play, went, damn, that's me at being the player I want to be at this level. He mentioned there was like a 10 or 12 game period where he wasn't on the ice for a single goal against. And, Backlund at lower levels would have defined his success by lighting the lamp. And then as he became a more mature player and sort of had to find a different role at the pro level, success changed. So I think Cami, as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, yes, and I think we're starting to see some of these guys, like, as they go from first year, second year, third year pro, what a good game looks like, what a successful game looks like. It sort of gets modified a bit in terms of, what is a good game to you. Kind of thing.
And we can probably put Zane Parekh in that category as well. And I do think we've seen some pretty tremendous growth in his game this year alone, no matter what people think about how his deployment has been handled.
Hey, he was really good at the World Juniors. 3 out of 4 games with the Wranglers, he was the best player on the ice on either team. And you can make a case that I'd say the last 10, 12 games he's played, like since the trade deadline here, I think he's been one of the Flames' 2 or 3 best defensemen.
I love that. Like, that's a strong stance to take, Pike. You fly that flag.
And his hair is amazing. Like, if you see it up close, you're like, my goodness.
Is it better than Sonny Milano's, though?
No, not many people's hair is better than Sonny Milano's. How is Sonny Milano's hair so, like, springy after he's played, like, 20 minutes a game?
Right? Oh, so impeccable. Oh, also, if we have any hockey parents listening, if your kids are bleaching their hair for playoffs, purple shampoo. I am so tired of this dehydrated pea yellow hair. Purple shampoo, please, please.
And that's right. And now that the water restrictions are done, everyone go nuts with shampoo. This is the time. We've all sacrificed for long enough. It's time for all of us to take care of our hair. with
Yeah.
purple shampoo.
Dry shampoo in a dream. Dry shampoo in a dream the last while here. Oh man. I saw we had that comment in the chat about wanting to see AHL players, AHL goalies, and I just thought it was so funny because I think a lot of us this week have been reflecting on what Devin Cooley's year has been like. And around this time last year, people were talking about the goalies that the Flames might go after as backups. They end up with a couple of Russian goaltenders. And Cooley just seemed to not really be a part of the conversation until he stole the backup job off the steam of some okay preseason outings.
I remember
Season outings too. And, Dustin Wolf is starting half a dozen games in a row. Cooley was not getting a lot of ice time at the start of the season. And this guy has just totally turned the page. He has an .840 save percentage tonight, but I don't think that tells the story of how good he was, especially in overtime, where he's playing basically the whole thing on the PK. I think maybe in the grand scheme of things, Dustin Wolf is better than what we've seen this season, and Devin Cooley's numbers might come back down to earth a little bit, I would guess. I'd maybe say Devin Cooley is having his Blake Coleman 2 years ago season, where I think he might still come back and be really good. Is it going to be these kind of numbers again? Maybe. But he's been so fun.
Oh God, he's maybe the best interview in the league where you ask one question and you're like, all right, I'm at word count now. Thanks, Devin. I remember covering the Wranglers a little bit last year. Just I don't think we can understate how good he was with the Wranglers 2 years ago. He was flirting with, he had record numbers, flirting with, he was first half MVP of the league, easily like a shoe into the All-Star game. And then, he got his concussion, and then when he came back, I will say a lot of nice things about the Flames medical staff, because I think, it's a tough job being medical staff. And to be honest, when someone no longer has symptoms, you basically rely on the player to tell you, I'm ready to go. And so once a player is medically cleared, and Cooley was, and says, all right, let's get back in there. He wants to help the team. And then he just did. We saw something similar with Jacob Markstrom in the I think the bubble year, where he got a knee to the head from Tanner Pearson. And when he came back, no symptoms, medically cleared, everything was good to go. He was just not himself. And, we're learning things about the brain and neuroscience. Brains are weird, folks. And anyone who's had a concussion can tell you, even when you're quote unquote symptom free, it takes you a while to feel like yourself. I have several friends of mine who've dealt with concussions, unfortunately, and they're doing better now, but it took a while. And so just the fact that Devin Cooley, you have your dream job, you're getting an AHL starter job, you're probably thinking in the back of your head, okay, if Vladar is somewhere else next year, he's 2, I'm 3, I could move up. Okay, you're having a great year, you have the injury, you work your way back, your team's in the playoff hunt, you want to help out your team, and you have a bad game. Oh, okay, I can work on it. Have another bad game. Oh, okay, I can work on it. Third bad game. He had bad games one after the other, and every time you're thinking, okay, goaltending's weird, he just doesn't have his mojo right now, he's going to shake it off, next game will be good. It never really happened for him. He was just flat out not very good in the second half, to the point where it was kind of hard to imagine him as the same guy. It was like someone just, they took somebody off, from a goaltending school, threw a Cooley jersey on him and said, okay, just say radical a lot and try to do your best to stop the puck. It was just not working for him, to the point where they didn't dress him for the playoffs. He held himself out of the playoffs because he got to the point where he's like, no, we need to deal with this stuff. So Valtteri Ignachev, trivia question for you all. Valtteri Ignachev, the Finnish player from Sweden, ended up playing both of the Flames or the Wranglers playoff games and losing both of them, and that's why the Wranglers season ended. So I think coming into this season, I had no idea what to expect from him. He, you sign Ivan Prosvetov in the offseason, and you can sort of see in the back of your head being like, all right, so is that Cooley insurance, or is Cooley Prosvetov insurance? Who's the 2 and who's the 3? We'll see. I covered, Cami, that atrocious 8-1 loss to Vancouver, where Pospisil got hurt, Huberdeau got hurt, Neither of their goalies looked any good. No one in a home sweater looked good at all. It was a bad game with a capital B. Burn the tape. You can't use the game for any kind of evaluation. And so I just think they ended up going with the guy that, they knew a little bit better. I mean, say what you will about Cooley's, second half of the year. I think your goaltending department gets to know him both at his best and at his worst last year. And you have a sense of, okay, at his worst, is this a guy that we can go to war with? And I think their mindset was, yeah, he's putting the work. He put in the work in the offseason
that people would go to war for.
Yeah, and so he got himself to a position where I think he gave himself an opportunity, and every time he came into a game, I think they gained more and more confidence in him to the point where I think after tonight's game, 911 save percentage, league average is 900. I think there's 4 guys, maybe 5 guys league wide who've played as much as he has better save percentages. Off the top of my head, and this is just me throwing out names at you: Scott Wedgwood, Jesper Valstead, Igor Shesterkin, Andre Vasilevsky, and then Cooley. So that's their top 5 in the NHL in save percentage. For a guy who's playing his first full NHL season, coming off a pretty rough injury last year that sort of just threw his mojo entirely off. So as much as our friend Eric Francis uses the phrase "the most interesting man in hockey," Cooley's also an easy guy to root for, and I think he's the type of guy where he's signed for 2 more years. In 2 more years, maybe Arseny Sergeyev is ready to push. Maybe you want to bring in someone else. Maybe much like what happened with Dan Vladar, what Vladar wants in terms of ice time and role, you can't really give to him. And so he migrates somewhere else. But, guy you got from free agency is giving you some really good value right now. And yeah, I don't think you're going to find many people who've come across Devin Cooley to have many negative things to say about him as a person or as a player, because he's such a weird dude in the best possible way. He'd be like the best dinner party invitee. Just throw him at a table at the end of the table, and just people can just sit next to him and have a ball the whole night. So he's been really good this year.
A few weeks ago, when he was on After Hours, and Flames games are usually blocked out there, so I was watching After Hours with my dad, and he's like, "Who is that?" I'm like, I had to explain like the Devin Cooley lore to him, and he's like, "What's on his shirt?" I'm like, "That's his pet rabbit." He's like, "This is fascinating."
Yeah, rabbits, nihilism. I remember he learned to play hockey. He basically made a rink in his backyard and used like oil or something to simulate fake ice or something so you could pretend to skate, because in Northern California you didn't have outdoor ice really reliably. So just his story is fascinating, and I don't think it's finished unfolding in Calgary anywhere close to now. It'll be a while.
What you also need to do is you got to boot up your own trivia night.
Where we just talked about
between having it at the Unicorn on 8th and the Unicorn on 4th. How good would that be?
I mean, as long as we can drop Valtteri Ignatiev lore here and there.
Add in Dublovitz there too.
Ooh.
Hardest names to spell. We can make it. Oh, okay. You can run the trivia. I'll run the spelling bee. They got 30 floors on 8, so each of us will take over 1 floor.
And then people can rotate through different floors.
Final bosses.
Ooh, that'd be good. Okay, we have to. That's a good off-season project to work on.
First floor, you just gotta buy Ryan Pender a $7 game day pint.
I'm sure he'd hate that. Ryan Pender famously does not like game day pints.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we can hide him under the stairs. You can bring him the pint, and he can solve a riddle or something. Or you have to solve the riddle to pass.
Is he a troll or is he a goat here?
His call. Can go either way. And if you don't make it, you have all sorts of things to fall back on there. Golden tea, buck hunter, pinball, darts, all the good stuff. Good food too. We'll have to come up with a different obstacle course for the Unicorn on 4th, but that would be a pretty good place for a little Barn Burner Flames Nation family meetup.
We get too many emails. The thing I like about the Dallas Stars, they tweet out line charts. Love teams giving me lines. Don't make me have to do work, guys.
And Team Tank loves to see the Predators up 3-0 after 2 periods of play. So Calgary could be 20 minutes away from being mathematically eliminated here.
So are we gonna have to? Are we both wearing black already? Do we do veils or
I'm
no
wearing
veils?
green because it's Green Shirt Day. If you would, and everybody, consider becoming an organ donor. Organ donor.
It's a very good cause.
You can save.
Maybe my monitor is just too low.
Healthy
like, is
person,
that
you
black?
can save up to 8 people by donating your organs.
Hell yeah. Also, cheap plug for the folks at Canada Blood Services. They always need donors too. So if you have additional blood or organs that you're willing to part with, people always need them.
Although there are some pretty strict guidelines on who can donate blood. I'm not allowed to donate blood.
Yeah, I went through the questionnaire. I'm like, wow, you guys are stringent.
I didn't weigh enough. I didn't have enough iron. And then I made a pretty concerted effort because I had a friend who had brain cancer and her whole thing was, I want people to donate blood. I've had so many transfusions. So my liquid iron, spinach, beef, chickpeas, we're going to be able to do this. And one had to use the stress ball and it took so long because my blood was just not flowing. And then I got up afterwards. I took 3 steps and started convulsing and collapsed. And they're like, you cannot do this again.
Yeah, because if you pass out, they can't use your blood at all.
Really?
Yeah, that's when I last time I was given blood. One, they said they looked at my veins. They're like, you have. I think the term that the woman there used was heroin addict veins. I'm like, is that good or bad? She's like, for this, it's really good. I'm like, great. But yeah, my better half, she has a habit of fainting when she has to give blood or to have needles, and they're like, oh no, sorry, you can't give blood. I'm like, why? Well, they explained, yeah, if basically if during the process you pass out, they can't use it.
Oh, during.
Yeah,
during, yes.
Apparently, they have a very broad definition of what during means.
Interesting.
Things you learn. But yeah, folks, remember, sign up to donate your organs, sign up to donate blood. Do it once, and then you have the ability to brag about it at parties for the rest of your life.
And just hope that you're not helping an Oilers fan. Or think about it as helping an Oilers fan to see their team potentially lose some more.
That's true. That is true.
All about the framing. But anyway, we're in the home stretch of the season. Let's take a look at the road ahead here.
This is getting lean really quick, eh?
Man, and
2 road, 3 home, then
a rematch against Colorado on Thursday. That's enough said about that. Colorado on Thursday.
Imagine you're in the room tonight. You're like feeling good. Like, all right, boys. Points in back-to-back games. We played 3 pretty good games, feeling pretty good. Team services goes in like, all right, boys, get on the plane. We're going to Denver. Again? Why? No. Again? No. But I don't know.
You land and that scary horse is looking at you with its beady little eyes.
Yeah. The devil horse.
Lucifer.
And then you have to drive for 45 minutes to get into the friggin' city. I really like Denver. I hate that airport.
Yeah, I think the YouTube video is not live anymore, but I remember in high school we watched this 3-hour video. It was like a Denver airport conspiracy. I should try to find that again. Fascinating. But anyway, Colorado on Thursday. Saturday, they'll wrap up the 6-game road trip in Seattle. Kraken are playing Minnesota tonight. We'll see if Jack can give us a score update on that one since I sewered him a little bit on the Preds game. But 8 points behind LA entering tonight's action for the second wild card spot. And they only have 5 games left now. So do time for the Kraken, and it is not looking good.
Cami, a better update is only 3 points ahead of the Calgary Flames.
What we've learned tonight is
Seattle's
all about perspective and how you want to look at things.
Ooh, yeah, it's poor Seattle. I mean, at least Utah's going to have a good time. But right now, there's 3 teams between LA, Nashville, and actually, you put Winnipeg in that stretch too because they're still got some runway left. But 3 of LA, Nashville, San Jose, and Winnipeg will miss the playoffs. I remember, Cami, fairly recently when Winnipeg was dead last and we were making fun of them. And then Vancouver just blew past them as they bottomed out. And Winnipeg.
The way I like phrasing it is that it was like a wrestling match, and Vancouver was the team like coming out of nowhere with the folding chair.
Yeah, it's you couldn't tank harder if you're doing it on purpose, and I don't think that Vancouver did much of this on purpose. But I don't know. I like Winnipeg. Hopefully, they can make I think the nightmare scenario for the Jets is finishing in that we'll call it the Pinder spot, 16th overall, where you're just like, well, you clawed all that way back, boys. You had a great second half, and you still missed. Great.
Yeah. Well, Seattle will do it for the road portion of this season. Then we have 3 home games to close this thing out. Sunday hosting Uyghur and the Mammoth. They're holding down the first wild card. I mean, they're not going to catch Minnesota for that 3rd spot in the Central. Utah will be on the second half of a back-to-back against Carolina. So they're just all about hanging on to where they are. Tuesday the 14th, 3rd and final meeting against the Avalanche. And then we've got the final game of this season, the LA Kings, Thursday the 16th. The Pinder number, the Trevor Linden number. Anze Kopitar's final regular season NHL game, but the Kings want to make sure it's not his last game, period. They're in the second wild card now. That might have changed with the out-of-town scoreboard for at least the time being. They're 1 point ahead of Nashville coming into tonight. They're going to be bringing everything that they've got for that last game. And cool for us to see, Anze Kopitar in his last regular season NHL game. I can't believe it's been 20 years.
Yeah, the best export Slovenia's ever had.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that'll be a fun game. I think it'll be hopefully a loud crowd for the Saddledome. Would be, I think this market has always been pretty good at giving players respectful send-offs, and it'll be a fun week between you get Uyghur's return. You got Nazem Kadri's return. You got Anze Kopitar's last regular season game, potentially his last game ever. It should be a fun homestand, and hopefully an energetic last 3 games as we get into the spring and draft lottery season.
Yeah, it'll be something impressive to watch. I also do hope that I hope Utah is the first visitor in the new building, and that Uyghur gets to come do that face-off because he made it happen.
I hope it's Edmonton.
Face-off, cowards.
It has to be either Edmonton or the Islanders. We open the Saddledome with Edmonton. We got to open the new building with Edmonton. It also means that the last game
at the first game at the Saddledome.
The last regular season game at the Saddledome has to be the Oilers too.
Yeah. Yes.
You got to bookend it.
Makes sense. But that's what the road ahead looks like. Only a few games left now. I always like to do the next 5 games. I'm like, ooh, out of runway now. But that is brought to you by Prairie Toyota dealers. With the Toyota Tacoma, standard I-Force engine boasts an impressive towing capacity of up to 6,400 pounds. Ryan, you add up the weights of everybody on the Flames and see how many players you need to get to 6,400. It is the most powerful Tacoma ever. So if you're hauling gear to the rink or heading to an away game, you can tackle it with ease. They've got the panoramic multi-terrain view monitor that gives you the live underfloor view to navigate the toughest terrain easily. And when it's time to load up, they've got the available power lift gate, which makes loading your gear in and out a cinch. So experience power, capability, and convenience with the Toyota Tacoma. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer during Red Tag days from March through May. What do you have on tap for Bet365 tonight?
Well, there's 3 games tomorrow, and unfortunately, the Oilers play. So if you guys want to bet against the Oilers, actually, on paper, it's kind of a fun night. Rhett's favorite team, the Buffalo Sabres, the greatest team in the state of New York right now, second to none. They're on the road. They're going to MSG to visit the Rangers. The Rangers are notoriously bad at home this year, to the point where people are just making fun of them. And the Sabres have been pretty good all over. So I think you're going to get, probably decent odds on the Sabres as a road underdog. Toronto, Washington. I don't know if anyone really loves that one because, the Capitals are sort of hanging around. They're called their affectionate nickname is the Cockroach Capitals because nothing could kill them. And I just love that nickname. And meanwhile, a lot of things can kill the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. They're kind of they keep bringing up guys on emergency recall. So that's another home game where maybe you go for the road team because if something can go wrong with the Leafs these days, they'll do their best to make sure it does. And then finally, a potential playoff preview between the San Jose Sharks and the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers are kind of, they're hanging around, they're doing some stuff, but they're still a team that's got some holes. Whereas the San Jose Sharks are sneaky fun, and not just sneaky fun anymore. They're actually fun. They're maybe a playoff team this year. We'll find out in a week. But yeah, they're very fun. Macklin Celebrini is an easy player to root for. Will Smith's an easy guy to root for. Sam Dickinson. They have a really fun team. So if you want to cheer for a team, well, Buffalo is fun. If you want to cheer against a team, Toronto and Edmonton are right there. And so any of those three games, I think, could give you some value. And I will throw out a shout out. Thursday, folks, not Wednesday, but Thursday is the NCAA Frozen Four, the first two games. The Flames have a bunch of prospects there. If you are so inclined, you can find odds on Bet365 for those games as well. I did not screenshot them because I did not remember it until right now. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening over the next few days. So that is our Bet365 plugs for today. Make sure you use the code NATION.
Ooh, and hit up the 3-goal early payout. So if the team you're cheering for goes up by 3 goals at any point in the game, you can get your bet paid out early. And it's just one less thing you got to wait around for. So you can download the app and see what early payout's all about. You got to be 19 or older, and you got to be smart about it. You got to play responsibly. You mentioned Frozen 4 starting up this week, Ryan. We were texting the other night. All 3 active Flames prospects in the WHL playoffs are also off to round number 2. We had a big upset on.
What a crazy series that was too. Two crazy overtime games
in a row. Nobody won 2 games in a row. And also, when we're looking to more depth picks in the draft, Cooper Williams out of Calgary, they call him Super Cooper. He scored the game-tying goal with 7 seconds left in Game 6. Gets the game-tying goal in Game 7. He was a finalist for Rookie of the Year last year. So, him, Zach Olsen, Braden Klimpke, all 3 great draft-eligible guys on Saskatoon. Hunter Lang played a huge role in that win. Got the first ever penalty shot playoff goal in Blades history. And then we'll see Axel Hertig with Calgary going up against Andrew Basha and the Medicine Hat Tigers. And that starts on Friday in Medicine Hat. And if you listen to the radio broadcast for Game 4, I might just be on it.
Okay. I'm going to pick on some people. I, too, have not been to a ton of Hitman games this year. There's only a certain amount of time in the day, in the week, and at some point, we all want to see our loved ones. I get it. I tweeted this out, and I'm going to say this bluntly here. There's no better time to jump on a bandwagon than during the playoffs. We all have plenty of friends and acquaintances that became lifelong Oilers fans the last 2 summers after all the other Canadian teams were out. We get it. But people won't be mad at you if you start going to Hitman games during the second round of the playoffs. So during this homestand, folks, the Hitman play. They're hosting Medicine Hat on Monday night. The Flames play the night before. The Flames play the night after. You already know how to get to the building. The tickets are inexpensive. They also play again on Wednesday. That'll be Game 4. So they're doing 2 games in Medicine Hat. You don't need to drive to Medicine Hat if you don't want to. I don't love that drive. If you're living in Medicine Hat, go to those games.
Victory Plus is just so free.
This is true. Victory Plus is very free, and you get to listen to Brad Curl. So those are 2 things that people really enjoy.
Curly is so. I wish
good.
His name was known across.
No, because then we would lose him, and he's just such a nice man. Curly, we love you. But if you're in Calgary, go to one of those 2 games. Come on, guys. Again, Monday and Wednesday, tickets available on Ticketmaster. If you've gone and looked at other hockey options in the market this year and bristled a little bit at the price, got no excuse. The Wranglers are finishing up this weekend. and then they'll be done. And then it's all Hitman all the time. So go to one of those two games because, let's be honest, Medicine Hat's a wagon, and there's no guarantee there'll be a third round of games you could go to. So this might be your only chance. And they've had a hell of a season. It'd be nice for them to have some nice crowds that were not Teddy Bear Toss or Pink Shirt Day related.
Ben Macbeth, also a Calgary guy.
He's so good.
Like sneaky. I think he's going to be one of the guys that surprises people with where he goes. I think his stock has just been climbing.
He feels like someone that's going to go in the second round, early second, and then in 6 months after that, people will see his numbers and go, how the hell is he available in the second round? Also, Eric too is a sneaky good goalie, and he's put up crazy good numbers. So yeah, go to the Hitman at some point during the next 2 weeks. They got 2 home games for sure. Knowing this series, they'll probably go long, and it'll be kind of a war. And I think one of the games might end up being on the weekend. Game 6 might end up being on a weekend, but I'm not sure. I haven't checked.
It's on a Sunday.
It's on a Sunday. It'll be the 4:00 game on the Sunday if they make it that far. So
yeah, and then like check out the Western matchups too. We got Landon DuPont going up against TJ Ginla.
Also, I think we're bearing the lead of a Prince Albert Raiders Saskatoon Blades second round series. There might be fatalities in that series. Those are 2 teams that capitally change.
Carved out.
Yeah, this is so, especially in the Eastern Conference of the Dub, there were 2 series with some serious capital A animosity involved, geographically close, and this is the kind of thing where absence does not make the heart grow fonder. The fact that they're so close to each other means that they kind of don't like each other to the point where
you're going to be sending multiple buses of fans to each other's buildings, and even if like the Art Hauser is not the newest, nicest building in the world, the atmosphere there, players will always tell you it is one of the hardest places to play in the world.
So so things got to remember, guys. Donate blood, donate organs, go to the Western League playoffs, because all those 3 things are things that will make you a good person. And then if someone asks you what you did last week, you can just puff up your chest and be like, man, you know what? I'm cool as shit because I did all those 3 things that Cami and Pike told me to do in the podcast. You might do other things too, but that's what you lead with.
The list. You can take advantage of Truck Month at GMC. If you want something reliable, tough, and ready for whatever the schedule throws at you, playoffs even, that's the 2026 Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab in a nutshell, and it can be yours for 0% financing for 72 months. It's got the factory 2-inch lift, off-road suspension, and a 5.3-liter V8. It is the ready-for-anything truck, so don't miss out and go to your local GMC dealer and take advantage of Truck Month before it ends. Any final book recommendations? Oh, sorry, we do have another super chat.
Yeah.
Draft stuff. Monty Ray. Hey guys, Caleb Malhotra has been climbing the draft rankings. If the Flames were to pick in the 3 to 5 range, would he be your choice?
3 to 5?
I think not for me, but I'm also not as familiar with his game, and I can admit that I would maybe I'd be wrong on that front. But
I would just say Carl Schmidt, Albert Schmidt, or Carson Verhoff or Chase Reed, one of those guys. I'd say
get past the top 5, even like start to add like a Daxon Rudolph to that conversation, a Lacombe guy, Alberta guy as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the big challenge is like this isn't a very good center draft. I mean, I think the Flames did a lot of their heavy lifting for centers last time. So I think at this point, I don't think you necessarily need to go for. We need a guy of a specific position. It'd be great if you can get one of those 2 top wingers in Ivar Stenberg and young. What's his McKenna? Something McKenna. He played in the Dub. I forget where he is now. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those drafts. So I would just say, go best player available. Trust your list. In this case, I'd need to know who else is off the list, but I don't hate Malhotra. He's a good player. His dad's pretty cool. The fact that you kind of know it's a guy who won't be kind of taken aback by the intangibles, the lifestyle, the travel, the this, that, the other thing. Like he kind of knows what to expect, gives you kind of a leg up because you don't need to sort of teach the kid a lot of the rhythm, a lot of the day-to-day stuff. You just sort of got to make sure his on ice details are up to snuff. So that's helpful. But
I also don't get the impression that outside of the top 3 that it could really go either way. There's a lot of different routes that teams could go. I just don't get the feeling that there's a clear-cut order here.
It feels like there's a clear-cut 1-2 in various orders. Probably, I think teams are still leaning McKenna at 1, but it's closer than it looked like it was going to be at the beginning of the year. So it's basically a 1A, 1B, and then there's probably 32 NHL teams. I bet you probably have 3 to 5 different combinations of 3, and then it varies out at 4, varies out at 5. Like, lists are going to look kind of chaotic in the top 5 or 6.
Yeah. Lot to get through. People who are smarter than us will scout hard.
Scout's going to
Any
scout.
last book recommendations we should dish out for Jack before we call it a night?
Jack, have you read Black Aces yet?
I have not. I have it though at my house.
Yeah, Black
Do you
Aces
like
is
reading sports books,
my
Jack,
stack.
or do you like to separate your
Here's the thing. I don't read books. This whole book thing is like because I don't read books. So Ryan decided to make a segment called Jack's Book Club, and RJ built this beautiful intro for it, and now I'm getting pressured every day of my life to read books to the point where people are like sending me books. So I don't have a taste of books. I don't know what to read. I have a collection of books. I've barely started any of them.
Jack, do you have a library card?
No, I don't.
Okay, 2 things for you to do. 1, get a library card. They're free. 2, there's an app called Libby, and you connect it to your library card, and you can rent on your phone. You can take out audiobooks, and so that's if the nice thing is Marta Loop is a very walkable area. I don't know where you live when you're not living at the studio, but I assume that there are pretty nice parks and stuff to walk there as well. Audiobooks are fantastic if you want to get the content from the books, but you don't want to read. Like, you're just too busy. Like,
So
you stare at screens so much that having the ability to sort of not stare at something and sort of move around a bit might be helpful.
Yes, but so I brought that up, and they said no, you can't do audiobooks. It doesn't count. It's not reading.
I understand the argument, but
You're still getting the knowledge.
I don't blame anyone for making the effort either.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think I could do audiobooks if I was just like not staring at something. Exactly, like if I was just walking around or if I was at the gym or something.
Yeah, because that's the thing that gets me in trouble with not reading enough. Just like, I stare at screens all the time that I feel like
Yes.
I just need to, my eyes need to rest, and I need to like be looking at like trees or squirrels or the various dogs of Glamorgan.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't read books, so
I just
I'm
have
trying to start.
like, if I start to read a book, I will probably read until like 3 in the morning.
Really?
And I'll try to one and done it. And that's a real problem. It was so bad when I was little. My mom used to take my light bulb away at night.
Wow.
And that is a
That was-
horrible habit that
was
has followed me into
not a
adulthood.
problem for me.
Yeah,
It's the complete opposite.
When I was
I'll
like
use some recommendations, Jack.
when I was like 12, we found the Calgary Public Library had this amazing. It was like right after he won like his second or third scoring title. This like amazing biography of Mario Lemieux that was originally written in French and translated to English. So it was like new, but it was like 2 years old, but it was new in English. And like, I powered through. Like, my mom had to be like, you need to go to bed and stop reading about Mario Lemieux. I'm like, this guy's fascinating. She's like, I know, but you need to stop reading. The only time in anyone's lives you have to scold your child for reading. So I'll recommend. I gotta find out the title of that book. Next time we do a show, I'll see if I can find the book. I'll also recommend a book that was recommended to me. It's called Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind. The cool thing is basically just looking at sort of human civilization from when they started out in Africa. It's sort of like the different skills they had to learn and what those skills unlocked and their ability to sort of navigate the rest of the world. It's fascinating. It sort of looks at like there's like basically I think they use the term cognitive revolution because like at some point humans stopped being animals and started being like we gained the ability to sort of communicate and organize, and like as soon as humans were able to tell each other to believe in things and people are like okay, and we had shared myths. That's when things got really. It's such a cool book because there's like you have one or two of those moments when you're reading each chapter. So and there's pictures. So like I mean, cool pictures and really weird cool history. So I'd recommend that too.
Weird cool history. My go-to for rereads. Pick it up and just open
Dead
it.
Mountain.
Oh, have you
Dead
ever
Mountain, the untold true story of the Dyatlov Pass incident.
have you read John Krakauer's book?
I read
Into Thin Air?
everything by John Krakauer. I love those books
He's
so
good.
much. Oh,
Yeah, Into Thin Air is fantastic. And like they made like a really shoddily made documentary of Into Thin Air, like maybe 2 years after it came out. It's amazing. Like, yeah, people do dumb things on a mountain. Like,
yeah.
just
No, these
fascinating.
books are bangers. All of them. I like outdoor adventure books and survival books. Yeah, I got a lot of books.
Yeah, we should just get Jack nothing but books about people
Yeah,
eating other people.
Dead Mountain by Donnie Eicher. I don't know if I agree with his conclusion, but the author actually went to the mountain in Russia where the hikers died under mysterious circumstances and interviewed the surviving member of the group. It's really good.
Oh, and given our current given what's going on in the world right now, we're like out of the world right now. I think there's a documentary from the Earth to the Moon about the Apollo missions, and they turned it into like a series of books too. So yeah, space stuff is really cool, and
For the Moon is another good space book.
I think it's neat that we're going to the moon again.
Okay, I think we've given Jack enough recommendations.
Yes.
Flame's got a point.
Flames got a point.
Yeah,
They're still third from last. Everybody be cool.
Oh, wait, do we have an update? Is this have we killed enough time? Oh, well, it's I don't think we're gonna last for another 20 odd minutes here, but the Predators are up 3-0. If that score holds, the Flames will be mathematically eliminated despite getting one today. Ooh. Sorry, one more digression. Greg M in the chat. What is the name or the author on the book on the feud between Joan Crawford and Betty Davis? I love Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. I want to read that.
We're going to have to find out. That
Pinder and RJ have opened a can of worms here. This is officially a book podcast. We are educated.
Yeah, you know what's we're gonna be at the fantasy at the hockey draft, and like there's gonna be Jack and me in the back just reading books.
Just reading books, talking books.
Come to the
might
nerd
happen.
table, Jack. We're gonna be reading books, and we'll still be drinking, but we'll be drinking and yelling about books.
Beautiful. I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect.
I've got a week? Is that next week? Next Friday.
Next Friday.
I got a big weekend ahead of me then.
Yeah, we expect you to do a full book report in between rounds of the draft where, yeah, maybe that'll be the ultimate Pinder's revenge on you.
We're all going to be Pinky and you're going to be the brain buddy.
You'll just have to do a PowerPoint presentation in between rounds of the draft explaining a book that you read that you enjoyed.
Oh,
Jack, what were the themes of this book? It had a bunch of I don't know. It had too many words in it. Leave me alone. What book did you read last, Pinder? Tell me about a book that you enjoyed that changed your life.
Uncle John's Bathroom Reader 5.
Okay, let's end this stupid.
Yeah, get us out of here. Flames lose 4-3 in overtime to the Dallas Stars, but they tried really hard and did a bunch of good things. This all belongs to the Barn Burner guys now. Not our problem anymore. Have a good night, friends.